Well, one of the big changes in culture, I think, has come through the Me Too movement. And as you know, I've backed this movement of women calling out sexual predators, particularly in the workplace, particularly in films and the media. Although I have worried that it sometimes degenerates into a witch hunt against innocent men, John Jarrett, for instance. But the biggest name brought down by this movement is Harvey Weinstein, once one of the most powerful Hollywood producers. Dozens of women, many actresses, have called him out for using his position to sexually abuse them. Weinstein denies it, but right now a jury is considering his verdict in a case where he's accused of raping 2 women who came to his apartment or his hotel room. Now, his lawyer, Donna Rotunno, has blamed the victims to the jury and on a podcast, which I'll show you, and told them to take some responsibility. Here she is.
Women have to start owning those choices, and they either have to say, I'm not going to do these things to attempt to get a job, or I'm going to own my choice for making that decision. If you go to the hotel room, it doesn't mean you deserve to have something bad happen to you. But if you go to the hotel room, you continue to perpetrate a culture that allows that to be acceptable.
Back with the panel, Rachael Wong, head of the Women's Forum Australia, and Jenna Clarke, assistant editor of the West Australian. Jenna, listening to that, you know, these women should take responsibility for being raped, and changing a rape culture means women shouldn't go up to Harvey Weinstein's room. I mean, my God, we've got a cultural problem. Well, America at least has got a cultural problem right there.
Yeah, and I think that's probably endemic of Hollywood and things like that, because these women are, you know, they all seem to be endemic of in their early 20s. They're probably a little bit naive. They're just trying to get a foot in the door in Hollywood, which is an industry renowned for it's not what you know, it's who you know. And Weinstein has been the biggest player in that game for many, many years. So I think that if he is, you know, and I think there was such a culture of secrecy around this type of behaviour, and that's why I think people like Rose McGowan that spoke out about this from a very early point. I think the interesting fact with her story is that she tried to speak out, and then the really disgusting part is that there were people, not saying that it was Weinstein or anyone associated with him, but there were people that that basically saw her blacklisted from movies from there on in. So her career was pretty much destroyed because she spoke out. So of course people see that, and then of course they don't want to follow in that track, because I guess they just want to get work.
Well, Rachael, is that the point that she was trying to make, and does it have any merit at all?
I think that the point about responsibility, yes, of course, women are free agents, we make our own decisions, everyone should take responsibility for their own safety. But I don't think it's as simple as she puts forward. I think that legitimately there are situations where, you know, maybe you are a bit naive, or you are a bit too trusting, or you misread a situation. But in general, women are taking precautions to guard themselves against dangerous situations and to guard themselves against unwanted encounters. And I don't think it's as simple to say that women need to take responsibility. But again, I'll come back again to the culture, which is what we've been talking about. And the culture in Hollywood is a culture where the casting couch is very much a known phenomenon. It's been like that for years. And it's also an industry which capitalises on the objectification and sexualisation of women. So I think those inside and outside of Hollywood really need to take a hard look at our culture and whether or not
Rachael,
this is fostering people like Harvey Weinstein.
Well, I want to shock you, because I don't think it is limited to the movie industry in America at all. In fact, we saw that on display only today. And well, I don't know, maybe we're seeing how things are changing, but have a look at this. This is the top Democrats were today having a debate in the contest to become the presidential candidate against US President Donald Trump. And joining them for the first time was billionaire publisher Michael Bloomberg, the former New York mayor, who's been accused by many people of making sexist comments and of sexist behaviour. And he was called out today by the other candidates, particularly Senator Elizabeth Warren, leaving him struggling for answers. Have a listen to this. I'll pay you $2 grand. Listen to this first.
I'd like to talk about who we're running against. A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg. Democrats are not going to win if we have a nominee who has a history of hiding his tax returns.
And Elizabeth Warren particularly went after Michael Bloomberg for paying off women who complained about his sexism in deals that bound them to keeping it secret. Listen to this.
They wish now to speak out and tell their side of the story about what it is they allege. That's now okay with you? You're releasing them on television tonight?
Senator? No.
Is that right?
It's easy. All the mayor has to do is say, you are released from the non-disclosure agreement, period.
Jenna, that's an astonishing confrontation, because it seemed that Bloomberg was so unprepared for any questioning of that record, and I've only shown you half of him floundering around.
Yeah, I was sort of watching the entire debate slack-jawed, and the fact that you can just see so much that Elizabeth Warren took so much joy and pleasure into sort of outing this guy that is just trying to buy his way to the nomination. I think it's really interesting that we've now come so far from 2016 in the fact that all of the things around Donald Trump and all of those, the incidents that allegedly happened in regards to his treatment of women, Hillary Clinton didn't really nail him to the cross when there were proper debates, whereas I feel like Elizabeth Warren and this incident, she completely eviscerated him, and so did Biden, and Biden's been asleep half the time, so he's finally fired up. But the fact that Bloomberg was completely unprepared, with the fact that he has probably the best staff in all of that, in all of those running mates, it just absolutely blew my mind.
Mine too. Rachel, I'm puzzled about what to take out of that exchange. The fact that a man can do that and just roll up to the debate, you know, and Democrats, by the way, and think, well, you know, I won't be asked about it, I don't need to prepare answers. Does that indicate, well, this is how bad it is? Or the fact that it's called out in a way I have never seen in a political debate like that before, does that show a change of attitude?
I think it's probably both. I'm just a little bit amused because you said I'd be shocked before, but I'm not shocked. I think it's tragic and pitiful that these kinds of people are running for the highest office in the land, but I don't think it's shocking that they have this attitude of sexualisation given the cultural context that we're in. But sure, I think that it does show hubris on his part, that he would think that he could get away with things like that and still run for political office and it not be an issue. But also, as you said, I think that the fact that it is being called out and so publicly and immediately is a really positive sign.
Right, I wish I had more examples from Australia, but those are the ones that have just popped up today. I think they're so high profile that even though from America, it was worth pointing out. And examples of perhaps cultural attitudes that must change and perhaps are changing, but that's not to diminish the scale of the tragedy that we saw yesterday. Disgusting. Rachael Wong and Jenna Clarke, I'm very grateful to you both for coming on to discuss this really difficult topic.
Thanks, Andrew.